Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Big Brother 25 Stockwatch Roundtable podcast. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and we are here this week, of course, to talk through everything that is happening on the feeds. And with me to talk through everything that is happening on the feeds, it's Aman. How you doing, Aman?
I'm good. Some blindside butter beans, baby, been served up hot. And I'm living for a nice hot steaming serving, baby. Yes.
Wait, hold on. Speaking of blindside butter beans, did we get you eating slop yet?
I forgot. I promise I'll do it. I'm not avoiding it. I'll do it. You know what? How about we save it for the LA show? I will eat slop live on the LA show. How about that?
There we go.
Brilliant.
Well, you heard her. Also joining us here this week is Maggie. How you doing, Maggie?
Taran, literally F off. I'm doing fantastic. What a great day of feeds. This season really, really is great. Like I'm gonna say it. There have been some really, really rough weeks, but overall, the game keeps switching. It's keeping us on our toes. This is not a stomp to the end of, there wasn't a giant flip and then a stomp to the end. There's so much movement that can happen. It's just so exciting. Taran, please don't go and cry. Okay, you did this to yourself.
Aman, I'm not going to take this level of disrespect from Maggie. You're going to have to step in.
I just don't know, like, if today is like maybe the right time, because I'm not really sure where Maggie's head's at. So I'm just like, I feel
also,
like
he doesn't control me. Okay.
Yeah, like I think maybe we should just wait until she calms down. But like, if you and I want to talk, that's fine. But I just don't know about her right now.
So. No, I'm not going to talk to you without her. You're going to have to wrangle her first.
Okay, I mean, that's fine and everything. But like, I still feel like, just to avoid like confusion, maybe we should still talk, because I'm just like in the dark about like what's going on between the two of you. So I just need to, I just don't want to involve her right now. But it'll be great if we could talk, please.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen, bro.
Okay.
But what will happen?
Aman, come blanket with me for the rest of the night.
Okay, I'll let me get a blanket. I'll I just knocked something over.
Guys, we're on the verge of getting rid of the makeout noises. We don't need to be creating any more. That's where I draw the line.
Grab.
Okay, I'm ready.
Me too.
Oh boy. Well,
it's gonna be a fun one tonight, guys. I feel it.
We are here. We're gonna talk through the week. Of course, if you don't know what's going on, we were just reenacting a little moment from today's feeds as some drama has occurred. And people are currently somebody still hasn't left the blanket, and one person's been coming in and out of the blanket, and we missed an argument, but here's what happened. Of course, Jag won the invisible HOH. He targeted Blue. He nominated Blue against Felicia. There were 2 veto competitions. Jag won the first one, then Blue won the second one, which forced Jag to pivot and instead target Corey and America. They used both vetoes to put both Corey and America on the block in a double blindside. So after the ceremony, there was an argument between America and at least Blue and probably some other people. But we did not under the blankets since the veto ceremony. Although she did briefly get up to go to the bathroom, at which point she told Jag to f off. And he then went up and asked Corey, hey, I'm not going to take that amount of disrespect. And that's why we were doing that. And since then, Corey has been campaigning awkwardly as he sort of like tries to walk the line of like, I don't want to be weird about this because I care more about America than the game, but also keep me. And so it's been dramatic, and I should say so far to very little effect. As
Yeah.
everyone Corey talks to is very much in the headspace of no. Have you seen like because I think Corey sees it this way, and this is what I talked about this morning that like Corey is like I'm being rational and genial, and I'm going to give you the pitch for why I should stay. America is still under the covers. And when people look at those two options, they're like, I'd rather compete against the covers than whatever's happening over here. And not that that would really matter, but it is not helping his cause, and they currently all plan to still vote him out. And it seems relatively difficult for that to shift at this point.
Yeah, y'all know me. I love a good little tiff on the Big Brother live feeds, and even the small ones are always great. Yeah, I look once again. I don't really care who wins this season, so I'm just here for the mess. And getting the chance to see the two of them blindsided in this fashion, yeah, my heart goes out to them on some level because no one wants to see their, the rug pulled from under them and like have their dreams go up in flames. But I'm not in that house, so I'm enjoying it. Yeah,
watch out. People are going to screenshot the two of you in blankets and be like, RHAP, so upset that Corey's leaving.
Oh,
Whatever.
you're right. You're right. True RHAP out of context.
Consider
that
this my Corey
would be.
cape. No, but like, look, I think as everyone has been pointing out over the past couple of days that, Jag and Matt were most likely going to be in a lot of hot water if either Corey or America ended up on the block or in power next week. And so, yeah, I mean, granted, this move was only brought on by the fact that Blue was no longer eligible to go home. But still, I mean, it was sort of, it was bound to happen sooner or later. One side was going to take a strike at the other. It just, was a matter of who was going to get there first. And yeah, Jag got there first.
Yeah, and this might be a hot take from me. Like everybody knows I love Corey in America. I've been like all about it all season. But they have gotten pretty schmoopy over the past couple weeks. So like, and also this is like the 5th time Corey has almost gone home. Like for me, as somebody who's like really enjoyed both of them all season, like this feels correct. This feels like what his gameplay wrought, both of them. This is because she is not innocent in this. Let us not forget how much information she's given Blue over the past 75 days. But like, sometimes people don't play the best and then they get their comeuppance for it. And like, even if you like them, you can still be like, this is pretty much correct. Like as a Big Brother super fan, I agree that this is what should be happening right now. And like, I think that I'm really excited when we get into the ratings to talk about like specifically America's trajectory after this, because as it stands right now, we all know like Corey's probably leaving. Because I do think that like America, she's blanketing right now and she's very upset. But America really has not felt the consequences of her actions for 75 days. Like her and Corey have been incredibly safe when they should not have been. So I am interested to see these last 25 days in the house if America's like, okay, that was really bad and I lost Corey because of it. Should I pivot? Like I'm interested to see if something changes here and like what that is.
Well, I think maybe something interesting to think about is that like America's style of gameplay is a lot less damaging without Corey there. Like Corey being a target means that information, like valuable information getting leaked is usually bad for Corey and thus theoretically bad for her. But her being in the game, not being much of a target, leaking information, might actually do more things, if that makes sense, because she's less threatening because she's not in a duo anymore. And she's just passing information along. There's less incentive for her to be like lying, less reason to think that she's like got some major plot in mind
Uh-huh.
that like she's trying to trick you with. So it might be more successful moving forward, but and she might start getting more credit for her own game as opposed to how they all just think that she's doing Corey's bidding.
Right.
Um, but you know, at the same time, it's like it's still like when I say might do better, I'm you know, I'm talking about like we're starting from pretty low.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where it's a game of catch up. And I was gonna say, like, I agree, Maggie. I feel like she really hasn't had to deal with it too much. I think that the most that she really got was when Felicia sort of like came at her neck and was like, "So what are you like? What do you think that you've done other than sort of just like let Corey guide you through this game?" That was like the most amount of heat that we'd seen her been under, and um, that was a very muted response that we got from her, kind of a more measured response. But now that she's like in real serious, deep right now, we got to see a little bit more of a spicy side to her, and it was great to see because it just shows you once again how bad some of these players want it, and that to me just makes it very fun. It kind of reminds me, and I'm in no way trying to claim that AmeriCorps will ever come or ever like touch the hem of the showmance that is Jamaica of BB25. But watching the two of them, part of the fun of that showmance was watching the two of them ride the highs and the lows and pulling all sorts of cards out of nowhere and surviving those crazy circumstances. And then in the end, it was like this big emotional release seeing Ika go home and Dimitri's just like, I'm alone now. And like, it's not quite as exciting as that, but it sort of like has shades of that excitement for me. So while it's sad to see them get broken up, I'm still kind of like, okay, well, what's the next chapter to this story now in terms of America's game? So
Yes.
yeah, I'm excited.
Completely agree. And I think that for America, like part of the reason that she is not commanding respect in the house is that she has played all season on such like shaky ground and she has almost been targeted since the beginning of the game, and I'm not sure that she sees that. Like she's never really felt in danger, like in serious danger, and I think that that's where the big disconnect has happened between the way people perceive her and the way she sees herself and her own game. Because a lot of the other people in the house are like, no, you almost went home week 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like the only reason you didn't is because a couple vetoes didn't go your way. But from her end, she didn't even know that she was in that serious of danger. So I'm just really fascinated to see. I completely agree with what you just said, Aman. Like, I'm really excited for this next phase of the game overall because, like, this middle game has basically been Jag, Matt, AmeriCorey, and like Cirie blanketing, waiting to strike. And so I really feel like this is pushing us forward. And this blindside, like, really got the pedals of the bike moving, and we're about to roll down the hill. And I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think the first thing I said when America was first talking to Blue last week, and she was telling Blue like, "Hey, I think Jag and Corey are coming after you." I was like, "This might get Corey evicted, which might be a good thing for America." So I'm not that mad at it. And I really do think that might be what happens. It's also like I think to your point, kind of clear in how they're responding to this, like. Corey's response to being put on the block, he said this to multiple people now, is kind of like, yeah, I've been kind of prepping myself for this for a while because I knew I was on shaky ground. Whereas America's response to it is a lot more like, how could they? This was never supposed to happen. Not to say she didn't see it coming, but like, I don't think she's been feeling like she's living on borrowed time in the same way that Corey was.
Yes.
And so it's hitting her harder because she hasn't been like prepping herself for it for so long in the same way that Corey has. And
I
so
think, I think, sorry to interrupt you. I think, I just think Corey's always been sort of like more of the gamer of the two of them, Whereas, like, I mean, they're both clearly big fans of the show. Like, we know that America's a big fan, but I think America is like more of a fan and like in line of like how I'm a fan. I think that she sort of like walked into that show with like, okay, there's going to be HOHs, there's going to be vetoes, there's going to be showmances. Oh my God, I'm in a showmance. Oh my God, I got nominated next to my showmance. How romantic. Like, it was sort of like a checklist of like experiences that she was excited for, which is great. And that's fine. But I think that she was more focused on like Big Brother, the experience versus Big Brother, the game, which makes an interesting dynamic between the two of them, because, you know, we're seeing how Corey's responding to being put up on the block and how America's responding to being put up on the block. But yeah, I think it's very clear, ever more so, having watched how the both of them have responded to this, because Corey knew. It was like, come on, like, he'd been talking about it for the past few weeks. And even when the whole blow up happened with him and like Jared, he was like, well, I know like what the repercussions of this is going to be. So like, you know, I'm just gonna like, I'm not gonna let anybody, you know, make me feel like this was a blind side. The same thing with like how he took being called out or being called pipsqueak with Maggie, not Maggie, Izzy. And she and everyone was coming at Izzy saying like, oh my God, she's such a you know poor sportsman. She's like, no, come on, like, I had that coming. Like, I did this to her. So he's always had that sort of mindset about the game. So
I also think that like something that my roommate Lincoln texted me right at the top of the like AmeriCorey of it all was that he had seen Cirie say that America reminded her a lot of the way that Parvati was like on the island, and not comparing them as, you know, game players, whatever, but like think back to Cook Island's Parvati, who was like there for a good time, like was in an alliance with her friends, like wanted to go to the end, flirted it up, was having a great time. And then when Penner turned on her, was like, I literally hate you forever. Like, I actually think that the comparison is very apt. And like, because America was driving me crazy at the beginning, because I was like, stop talking to Blue. Like, why are you doing all this stuff? And then once I got that in my head and was like, oh, she's here to experience Big Brother as a huge fan who wants to have fun, like, then it became, I understood her better and felt like I could analyze her better, because I wasn't looking at her as like this grand game bot. I was more looking at her as like this girl who's living out her dream and is like having the time of her life. And yes, she understands Big Brother. Like, and that's why she drives me way less crazy than some of the other people, because she came in as such a huge fan. So she does understand the strategy of it and what she has to do, but that's not the main reason that she's there.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that she is a gamer. She is playing. She's wanting to play hard. And, like, one of many, like, reasons why I'm frustrated with the competition layout, because, like, America winning an HOH. America has been at the top of who do you want to see win HOH next week for the entire season, because everyone understands that an America HOH would be really fun. She would just go for it. It would be a wild ride. But she hasn't been able to win any of the competitions in the same way that Felicia HOHs are great fun. And we would love to see Felicia win HOH, because that would be really interesting. I mean, hell, Cirie as an HOH would be super interesting to see. But these people, these women, are a lot less likely to win competitions, and we're not getting the chance to see what they would do. We're just seeing the same people over and over win the competitions. But yeah, I mean, you know, she's there to play. But I agree, she's also there to like, you know, like enjoy herself. And I think that this week has not been too enjoyable for her here. But we'll see where it goes from there. Of course, Cirie was immediately at her bedside, getting in there early, starting the prep work. Corey, on the other hand, continues to make the same mistake that kind of got him into this mess in the first place, completely overestimating his relationship with Bowie. He had a conversation with Bowie where he was like, I'm really confused, Bowie. And she was like, yeah, me too. And he was like, well, how long have you known? She was like, just last night I had an inkling. And he buys that apparently, and
Yeah, it was very strange.
goes on to be like, well, you know, Bowie, I've seen you as my true final three with America this whole time. And she's like, really? Because I didn't really know that. And he was like, yeah, we've like hinted around before. We never locked anything in, but that's how I always saw it. And you know, you're the person I've told the most like information to outside of America. And she's like, really? Because I feel like you haven't told me anything sensitive. He's like, no, well, that's how I saw it. And it's just like, yeah, this is the problem. There's a version of Bowie that exists in Corey's head, and then there's Bowie. And the two are not the same. And even after she says this to him, like, all this stuff that you're saying about how you feel about me is news to me, bro. He still goes off and is like, Bowie's one of the votes I'm counting on. He tells Cirie, I'm extremely confident I can get Bowie's vote. It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
The 3 votes he's going for are Cirie, Felicia, and Bowie, which I think he's maybe started to realize won't work, but like he's already gone in. His pitch is, I'm targeting Matt and Jag, so keep me to go after Matt and Jag. That's not going to work. Nobody's going to go against Matt and Jag knowing that Matt and Jag can both compete in the next HOH. It's not worth it. He needs to convince Matt and Jag. And he says this to Blue, like, I know you probably don't want to piss off Matt and Jag. And it's like, yep, that's exactly the problem, Corey. You're not going to get 3 votes, especially not Bowie, who's locked in with them. But you don't know that. You still don't understand Bowie. But if there was any chance, Corey's current pitch is not it. And unless that changes, I think this is locked in.
Also, I don't understand why that would be the pitch when your girlfriend literally told them to F off in the bathroom. Like, she's going to be the one to go at, like, present yourself as the counter. Like, be like, okay, nobody's going to believe that I am going to go after Matt or Jag harder than America. So why don't I present myself as the counter, and like, what else do I need to do?
Yeah, I feel like it's so limited in what he can say now. Like, especially, I mean, yeah, with America still being there and everyone relying on her to do it, and other people also having the same inkling, maybe we should split up Matt and Jag. Maybe Jag should be next. It's like, do we really need Corey to do that? Like, and that was, I mean, of course you're going to go after Matt and Jag because Matt and Jag were coming after you, and you were going after them. So like, we already knew that. So it's just not an enticing argument.
It's just, it was also like frustrating, the thing where he's like, one of the first things he says to Matt is like, you're never going to believe I'm not coming for you. Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Corey, people believe that stuff all the time on Big Brother. You don't know until you try, dude. Like, don't just completely eliminate half of your options out of the gate.
And the whole thing with Bowie is so interesting because I'm like, so you think that after that conversation that you had with her, when she is sort of like hinting that she didn't feel valued by you the way that you feel like you were valuing her, but now that you're telling her for the first time, it seems that you see her this way, you think that pulled her back in when you're already up on the block and she knew you were going up on the block and she didn't tell you? It's just like, what's like, where's like the disconnect? The cognitive dissonance is it's like staggering. It's like, bruh, come on. Like, it's too late. It's late. You gotta do something else.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, unfortunately, this season does resemble 21 in its end game structure right now. And this is what Christy did. Taco Tuesday. You promised them the world. Cross your fingers behind your back. When people win a bunch of comps, it props their game up to the point where they think they're really good and they're willing to believe that they're that good, that they've managed to put you on the block and then get you back. It's exactly what just happened with Blue.
That is actually a really, really great point that I feel like nobody ever really talks about, that like winning those competitions inflates your ego so much. And if you are ever, future Big Brother players, if you are ever on the show with somebody who's going on a comp run, they are usually like, you can stroke their ego by saying like, I'll work for you because I know how good you are. Like, they will believe you because they have felt untouchable because they have literally been untouchable because they've been immune.
Yeah. Yep. Well, let's talk about some survey questions here. Of course, if you want to fill out the survey, you still have about 10 minutes or so to do so. You can go to my Twitter to find the link. Let's go favorite players. Here's what we'll do. We'll go who's the top 3? What are your guesses?
Cirie,
Mm-hmm.
America,
Mm-hmm.
and I do think Corey.
Yeah, the last time I did this, I said Cirie, America, and Matt, and then Corey was in there before Matt. So I'm gonna assume that nothing really has changed too much in the past couple weeks. So I will agree.
Okay, before I reveal the correct top 3, I want to ask the second question, which is, which player has changed the most since last week?
Blue.
Yeah, maybe Blue for switching things up a little bit, for better or worse. maybe Jag. I don't think it's too late for Jag.
But no, Jag could go down.
He could go down.
Which I do think is like a bit unfair if Jag goes like way down, like, you know.
I'll say Jag just so it's different.
Okay. Blue stayed the same in the sense that Cameron left and she took over the bottom spot.
Damn.
Jag did move down. He went below Bowie, who was below him last week. He moved below Bowie to get the second to last spot.
Damn.
But somebody else moved even more. And that person is Felicia, who has jumped both Corey and America into second place.
Whoa, okay. I was gonna guess. I didn't. So, you know, ifs and woods, whatever. But like I was gonna guess Cirie, America, Felicia. But I can't believe that she took second place from America, given America's like feistiness on the feats today.
Yeah.
It's close, but yeah, she jumped them both.
I love her.
So the order is Cirie number 1, Felicia number 2, Corey and America currently tied for third place.
Wow.
How apropos.
Followed by Matt, then Bowie, Jag, and Blue. And after the tie, it's like a step ladder right down. Very clear distinctions: Matt, Bowie, Jag, Blue. With Cirie with quite a big lead in first place as well.
The stands are coming through. Always.
Yeah.
Always.
I asked the audience to rate the episodes this week. Last week, the episodes had a 6.5. This week, a 4.8. Sunday's episode could not have helped. Thursday's episode was it good? I don't even remember. It was fine, right?
Yeah,
Cameron left.
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
We didn't get an HOH comp.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And then the Tuesday episode was Cameron getting backdoored. Oh no, it was a cliffhanger.
Yes.
I just remember liking the Sunday episode. Oh, you know what? I feel like I didn't love Tuesday either. I gotta say, yeah, I'm with this rating.
Yeah, it was, you know, it's sort of, I mean, it's reflective of the type of week that it was to begin with, you know, just really wasn't much to do. The game sort of like, it was exciting that Cameron was finally going home, but it was just like, okay, this week is just, you know, part of the course, whatever. Let's move on.
Yeah. I said I liked Thursday because it was accurate for the most part. Okay. There you go. I didn't remember it much though. I asked the audience to rate the feeds this week. Last week it was a 6.6. This week a 5.8. So you know.
Interesting.
I mean, there was a fight today that we missed.
Yeah, I think today was pretty interesting. outside of that, the invisible HOH stuff, I do think stifles things a bit. There hasn't been a lot of like yesterday was really boring because nothing happened. We were just in a holding pattern. So yeah, it's I think like roughly a 6 is fine.
Yeah, I thought it would have been a little closer together, only because like maybe the past 2 days would have bumped it up a little bit for like the intrigue of like, oh, they're talking about backdooring. Oh my god, it's gonna happen, and then it happens today. So maybe like a little bump, but yeah.
I think the problem is that like the backdoor was basically feeds are down for 7 hours. They come back and it's like, okay, we're doing it. And then they were doing it, but nothing was. We were just waiting, and now they've done it. And today was interesting, and hopefully it continues to be interesting. But it's been a lot of just like waiting, I think, until this moment. So up until now, it has been like here and there. But it wasn't like some big build up to the plan because the fees were just off for so long, and then when they finally come back, it's just like, yeah, well, we don't really have much of a choice, do we?
Yeah.
And then I asked the audience to rate the season as a whole so far. Last week, the season as a whole jumped up from 6.4 to a 7.0. This week, it drops back down to a 6.6. Big drop after last week's jump.
Well, like I said, I think that this middle game was so slow with the zombie weeks and all the twists and the bullshit here and there, sorry for swearing. But like, I think that now, like, we're starting to cook with gas again. And I do think moving forward, it's going to be excitement here on out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like starting the week the way that we did with the invisible HOH, Jag winning this physical competition, being allowed to compete in next week, it was like a lot of things at once to be like, oh God. And like, yes, we're getting the exciting result this week. And I think that like things are picking up because of that. But I definitely felt the fatigue at the start of the week, like as well. Like luckily the way that Jag goes about this is a lot more like exciting. But
That's one word.
yeah.
Exciting.
Now, would you rather have a fast-paced beginning, a pretty engaging end game, and then a rough, long slog to the end, or a fast-paced beginning and then a slow mid game and then some interesting stuff towards the end?
I personally like seasons that end well. Really, like, I think I like those the best. Like, that's one of the reasons why I think Big Brother 14 is one of my favorites. Not that it like ends well necessarily, but like the end game was so fun. With what Dan was doing. One of the biggest moments of the entire season is at the final four.
Yeah.
Like I like seasons that are exciting at the end because that's when the stakes are the highest and you're the most invested and things are happening. Seasons that start great and then slow down are fine. Those are great too. It's always fun to have a lot of people and things are really exciting. But I think, if I had to choose between exciting, beginning or exciting end, I'd take the end, which is, it's more rare.
Yeah.
I would agree. I like it when it picks up towards the end. So I'm like, not as, hopefully it continues to do so as we're expecting, but I'm like more amenable to this like little slow middle game if it means that we're going to get this in the end.
I don't know. Also, though, I will say, just to be maybe a different, like the Big Brother 20 is like my, top 3 seasons of all time because the first half of the game was just so electric. Every single week, it was so electric. And in my opinion, if Tyler had won, it would be like number 1 for me forever. Like as long as a season, if it slows down near the end, but it sticks the landing, then I'm okay. Like Big Brother 24 stuck the landing. And like that, I do think is like my number 1 or 2 of all time. So it just, to me, I think the most important thing is there has to be some part of it that's exciting and then it has to stick the landing.
Well, I mean, season 24 was like a classic, like 3 act
It was
structure.
you
Like,
couldn't have written it. Literally couldn't have written it.
yeah, like it started with an inciting incident, and then like Act 1 very exciting. As things get darker, but then there's the lights, and there's this big burst of like Act 2. Things are going well until Act 3 when it's like all hope is lost and everything is all about
And there's
to
a moment
be
of self-sabotage for the hero, and you're like, why are you
yeah.
doing this? Don't do this.
And then at the very end, like magic, the light shines through and it all ends out well.
Big Brother 24 was so hard to watch because you were like, yeah. But on a rewatch, you're so right. It's brilliant. So good.
Well, I asked the audience to rate Jag's HOH reign, and the audience said 3.6. Which is 1 point less than Cam's HOH, or 1/10 of a point less than Cam's at 3.7.
Damn. I mean, well, in terms of like storylines and stuff, it's kind of sticking the landing a little bit. I mean, kind of fell into it as opposed to really sticking it, but at least towards the end, it was something that was okay. This is good. This is good for you.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I was just gonna say we'll see what I think once we get to Jag's score.
I asked the audience to rate the invisible HOH twist, and the audience gave the invisible HOH twist a 2.2 out of 10.
See, I don't have a problem with invisible HOHs. I just have a problem with it like this late in the game, maybe, and obviously how it was executed. But I like the
competition, yeah,
and the competition. But the essence of the concept or idea of an invisible HOH is fine to me. 10 out of 10 for me. It just has to be done well and at the right time.
Yeah, the kind of competition it was, where it was both very physical and also they reveal the times. The fact that it's this late in the game with a double veto option, which means it's almost always going to be revealed who's the invisible HOH, even if they don't already reveal it, which they usually will anyway. And then also the worst and absolutely most egregious thing, allowing him to compete in the following HOH, is just so bad. So yeah, I completely agree.
They should have did a thing where it was like, if you reveal to someone that you were the HOH, then you can not play in the next one, or you can play, or if you successfully make it through, then you can play. But if you reveal, then you're screwed. Like give it some more weight, because like there's nothing to stop someone. It's like, we know how people work in like Survivor and Big Brother games. So like the production's gonna try to throw a twist to like wrench up their games or whatever, and the cast is always going to like push back and find any kind of caveat or loophole to act as if the twist doesn't exist. And that's sort of exactly what Jag did. It's like, invisible HOH where? Because I'm going to tell everybody. Like, so okay, then what's the point? What's the point?
I asked the audience to rate the double veto twist, and the audience gave it a 3.3.
Yeah.
I'm much less mad at the double veto twist, personally.
Me too.
It's whatever. Like, I'd prefer it wasn't another physical competition. But at least they gave us, and look, by the way, look at what happened when they gave a physical competition. Nothing would have happened. Jag wins, doesn't matter, wouldn't have changed anything. They give a crapshoot-esque competition, according to them. It was like guessing something. Blue wins it, changes the entire course of the week. We get something much more exciting this week. Like, it's so, the last time we had a crapshoot competition, Felicia won it and evicted Heisem in the most dramatic eviction of the season. And this is the second most dramatic eviction of the season on the back of another crapshoot. It's so obvious.
Yeah. What the issue with this is, like, I don't, like, in my mind, I feel like crapshoot competitions or competitions involving, like, guessing, staying and folding, counting, stuff like that, like, I feel like those are easier to set up. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about in terms of like TV and production. But I feel like with all these big physical comps, you got things getting shot at them, and they have to like go through obstacle courses and jump into ball pits and all that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like that's a lot of work in construction. So I don't understand if time is always of the essence when it comes to a TV show. I don't understand why you would deliberately have more complicated competitions when you could have something as simple as a question comp, a crapshoot comp, a counting comp. Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of logical explanations, but also like I don't think that any of the logic, like, because people will say like, well, it matters for ratings or whatever. I don't think they have logic to this. Like, I don't think that is the case. I think that they just do what they feel like doing,
Yeah.
and they don't
Yeah.
think much more of it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I think
we
they just
deal
have
with
like
the results.
they have like a little booklet of comps, right? And it's like production just chooses their favorite comp and they just attach a different skin to it. You know, it's like if someone has a crazy competition idea and they're like, oh, let's have them, over lava. And there's like a gigantic picture of like Rockstar shooting lava balls at them. It's like, okay, let's make that the wall comp. It's like, no, like make it something else. Like, I don't understand. It's so whatever.
Well, I asked the audience, is Jag making the right decision for his game with the veto? I didn't include Blue in this because obviously Blue is making the right decision for your game. This is always a complicated question because there's so many different things that this can mean. Like, is putting up Corey in America the right move for his game? Well, yes, it's better than putting up Felicia, but could you get a little more granular with this? Like, is him using the veto to take down Felicia the right move? Because he could have not used it and just put Corey up, or even just put America up if you wanted to go a slightly different route, and make sure that America leaves to keep Corey in to be, somebody that Blue and Cirie still have to deal with. So there are a lot of different ways that he could have used the veto to get similar or slightly different results. The audience ultimately, though, says 76% yes, he is mostly just doing the right thing here, which I, in general, agree with. I think that I would probably have said no myself because I don't think he needed to win it in the first place, and I do think that he could be doing better things. I don't think that both Corey and America needed to be on the block. I think that even again, just putting up America, forcing America out of the game, leaving Corey in, wouldn't have been the worst play in the world. Or even just leaving Corey up against Felicia, I think would have been fine. My issue with Corey and America both on the block is that, assuming America eventually comes around and stops asking to be evicted, it's giving the opportunity for the rest of the house, mainly Blue and Cirie and Felicia, to go to America and be like, "We got you, girl." Like, the campaign, like, that's a bonding experience. They're going to vote to keep her, and they have the votes to do it if they want to do it that way. Like, they could decide to evict Corey or to evict her if they wanted to, but they're going to decide not to. Not to say that Blue will like jump in on that or that Felicia will necessarily think of it, but Cirie definitely will. And Cirie's going to be like, "I'm on your side." And it's going to be something that helps Cirie. Whereas if Felicia's on the block against Corey, now all of those people have to say no to America as she campaigns for Corey to stay. They have to deny her what she wants, and that relationship is not going to be as easy to build. So both on the block, I don't think makes as much sense to me. That's why I would have said no. But at the end of it all, it doesn't matter because he's going to win the next HOH.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point. I tend to think that it doesn't. I'm not as like perturbed by it. Like, I feel like it's as easy as the narrative of like, well, show monsters always have to go up on the block together. I think that's like the ultimate meta strategy of the game. So I feel like most people are just going to be like, it makes sense, even in all of the frustration. And I tend to think that maybe, that still happens with everyone else if Corey is just on the block and America is off, and they're like, he's probably going to go, but because that's what the HOH wants. But like, I'm still down to work with you, America. And she doesn't really have a lot of options because if everyone is telling her no, then everyone's telling her yes at the same time. Because like if you can't get anywhere, then what you gonna do, girl? So yeah, it's definitely an interesting back and forth if we're like really nitpicking at it. I think mostly like, yeah, Jag, like, you know, you stumbled into the move, but ultimately it's probably going to work out in your favor because either you win the HOH or Matt does, or let's just hope that it's not physical again, because that means 2 physical HOHs in a row. So maybe there's a world in which the 2 of them end up in hot water and America wins the HOH. Ooh. So yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
I had never thought of that, Taran, that if you put Corey up and leave America, she'll be campaigning. I literally, like, my brain never went there. And that is such a good point. That is like, so that's a slam dunk then there, because then she's also like Matt, like, because they would need 3 votes, or she would probably think that if she has Matt, that maybe they can convince Jag and like get the band back together. So even if that doesn't happen, she'll be pissed at them, but also like, that's such a good point.
Yeah. Well, I also asked the audience, who do you want to be evicted this week between Corey and America? 66% of the audience said Corey over America. And maybe that's because, who do you want to see win HOH next week? 45% say America. When will it happen, says the audience. Followed by Cirie and Felicia.
In America, HOH would be amazing. It would be so good. I have faith. I don't know. I feel like I usually have a good sense of when like something's not going to go our way. Like I feel super delulu. And I don't know. I feel like because they aren't, like, there is no mechanism for Jag to throw, I feel kind of confident it is going to be like a crapshooty comp.
The
next one, because even
we got 2 physical comps in a row. Like it better be.
Even Big Brother 21, they did have that one crapshoot that Holly like slid the ball all the way to the end and like somehow beasted the crapshoot and was like the first one to go. Like they still do like these final 7-6 sometimes crapshoots. They haven't played the competition yet, have they? Where it's like shuffleboard kind of, where they throw it for points.
Mm-mm.
No, they haven't. You know, the comps that I miss are the comps where like you have to collect a certain amount of things to get a shot to play in the game. And then if you miss, then you have to go back and collect more. Like I think the one that I can remember the most was the Candy Crush competition back in BB19. Like they had to like catch all the falling candy when you had like 3 matches or whatever. Then you could go and like you had your shot at a game. Like give me something like that, because that's like skill based. You know what I mean? That's like you're taking out like there is a physical component, so there is like a little bit of like ooh, but it's mostly like luck and skill. So it's just like, why can't we do something like that? Why does it have to be strictly physical all the damn time?
Well, should we get to the ratings?
Yes.
Okay. This is, of course, the portion of the podcast where we rate the players from 1 to 10 based on how well we think they are doing in the game. And then these ratings will be put together to create a price in the reality Stockwatch market where you will make and lose money in the game. And we're going to start with America this week, as we tend to do, mostly because it's hard to rearrange these. Every time I have to move someone over, it's a whole thing. So America currently on the block, currently asking to go home, but that's probably not going to last. I do think that this is like net positive for her. I think that like obviously Corey in the game is always going to be better for her than Corey not in the game, because it's 2 people. The problem is that the trajectory she was on, she was never going to win. She could have changed it and done something different and won, but given how she was playing, that wasn't really happening. So Corey out of the game, fair or not, helps a bit, because she'll start being able to play her own game. The problem is, as of right now, she is still a big target moving forward. Now, Will that happen? Should that happen? Is another question. Will Blue really target America? Will Matt or Jag really target America over Blue? I think the answer to that question is probably not for most of them. I think that Blue is probably the target for Matt, Jag, or Bowie. And I think that even maybe like a Bowie might be a target over America for somebody like Blue. And then if maybe Cirie gets her way, maybe all the way to Matt or Jag. But it's definitely not great. She's going to be used as a pawn, almost certainly, next week. And we'll have a chance to go home next week. That's assuming she survives this week, which I do kind of assume. So it's not good. It's not great. She did again kind of put herself in this position to begin with. And she just has such a large hill to climb. But I do think that like a single HOH win next week, or even the week after, could turn everything around for her. So I think I'm fine being like, oof, hold on, I gotta be careful with this rating because I need to make sure that I have space for all of the people.
Not the curve.
I think because the problem is I want to give Corey a lower rating than her, but I don't want to give Corey a 1 right now. But I think I would give her a 3. I think I'll give her a 3.
Okay.
What do you think, Amon?
Yeah, I'm hovering between 2 and 3. Only because I am a little worried for her. I can only really go based off of what I see now. And yes, she's very upset now, and she's telling people to F off, which I love. But you have to think about like who she's saying that to and like how likely it is that person ends up in power again. And yes, there is still some room. There's still a lot of days for there to be some type of like reconciliation where she, either apologizes or comes to Matt and Jag, specifically Jag, and is like, look, like, okay, well, where do we go from here? Like there is still room for that. But if she is determined to sort of like show no space for I'm willing to work with these people, and then she goes around to everyone else and it says like I'm obviously going to be gunning for them, then there really isn't much incentive for Matt or Jag to keep her around. Even with somebody like Blue in the house, like I could easily see them getting spooked, like, well, let's just get rid of both of them now because we can probably still beat Blue in the end anyway. So I'm still a little worried. I hope that she's able to sort of come out of it and is, ready to game with him gone. But if they blanket for the rest of the time and she's telling everybody else that comes to her saying, I want them out now, I'm a little worried. So I guess I have more faith that she will come out of it than I have that she won't. So I'll give her the 3 too.
All right.
Yeah, I think I think the 3 is incredibly apt for her. I actually think like, look, I don't play the Stockwatch. But if I was, and look, I'm also not very good at the Stockwatch, but if I was, I would say I think that like America could have an upward trajectory here. Like I think that there's, like you just laid out, Taran, I do think that, there is danger, but also like I think that it has a strong possibility of being a losing finalist. Or like you said, even if she is, she wins an HOH or 2 in the next couple weeks and gets out somebody like Jag or Matt, like I think that she can garner a lot of respect. And I also, like I said at the top of this podcast, I think we're going to see a new America. I do. I'm not sure that it'll get her the win.
We all want a new America. Oh my God.
I'm not sure it's going to get her the win. I'm not going that far, but I do think we're going to see a new America, and I have hope. And she's such a different player than the people that I usually root for in the house. Like usually I want the Machiavellian sort of like gamer, like that's who I'm in on. But America's been really, really fun for me to watch. So I'm also giving her a 3 because I've enjoyed watching her. And I want to keep watching her.
Yeah, this to me is less about like her gameplay this week. I fully don't believe she's gonna continue to try to be asked to get herself evicted
Absolutely not.
by Thursday.
She's
Nor does
sad.
anybody, yeah, nor does anybody in the house believe that. But it also like it doesn't matter. Like it's her position that we're rating right now. And her position is she's almost definitely not getting voted out this week. And shouldn't really be the target by the end of next week. She still could be, but there should be a lot of space for her now that Corey's gone. It's still a drop from last week, but the audience does agree. They gave her a 3 as well. Amon, how do you feel about Blue?
I mean, well, Blue did what she had to do this week. She saved herself, so that's always good. However, her actions throughout the week have been very concerning. Not necessarily wanting to believe that the two people that wanted her up on the block and almost got her out of here were the ones that really wanted it to happen. And America had been tipping her off, and yes, she did end up taking that information to them and snitching on America, but it was after so much like waffling in her own mind about like who were her true allies. And now that Jag has finally told her, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm the HOH, put your ass up. Like, how she responded to that, I'm like, are you coming back into the fold too quickly? Is this like, oh, Jag? Or is it like, oh, Jag? Like, so I'm concerned about how she's going to move forward, especially with someone like America in the house, because we know that she's, America and Corey, she's been trying to get them out for so long. So it's like, if you win HOH, are you still going to target America and not go after the people that can beat you? I have faith that maybe others will get in her head, and should she win HOH and shift her mind to where it should be. But if she doesn't come to that on her own, I'm like, ugh. So, she's still at risk of going up again next week, especially with Matt and Jag there. So I can't go too high on her, but I'll definitely go higher than America right now. So I will go. Am I nice and give her a 5? Because there is a lot of potential there. I'll give her a 5. And a bit of that is like, thanks for winning that veto and giving us a spicy week, Blue.
Wow, a 5.
Maggie, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I was really, really stressed that I was gonna have to go first for Blue because I was like, I don't know how to feel. But over the course of this podcast, I think that I've like kind of been able to put my thoughts into words, which is that Blue is playing like a rat game. Like she rats out everybody, basically. Every single person that gives her information, she rats it out. Unfortunately, the most important thing for somebody who is playing a rat game to understand is timing and how their information has power. Like the successful rat games were so frustrating for the audience to watch, but they were successful because people like Franzel and Andy knew when to shut up and ride their allies and then knew when to drop information. And I have to say, Blue does not have that quality. A lot of the reason that the rat players succeed is not just timing, but also like they can read who is loyal to who, how they need to shift the tides. And Blue, I mean, she's like laughing about the fact that America told her that Matt and Jag were after her to Matt and Jag after they put her on the block. Like I can't. She drives me nuts. And for that, I am going to give her a 4 because I do think played better than No, I'm giving her a 3. I'm giving her a 3 because if she had not won that veto, she would have been out the door and she would have been none the wiser for it. And she's done nothing to shift her game since winning that veto. She still thinks that she's working with Matt and Jag. I don't want to make it seem like I don't see the value in the ratting out that Blue has done. Like the way that she can rat people out to try to get her way and that killer instinct that she has is good in that way, the way that she's used it against Corey. The problem is that she cannot be discerning about when to do it. And so no, I'm giving her a 3.
All right. Well, the audience, this was a close vote, but they did land on a 4. So splitting the difference there between the two of you. I am more inclined to agree with Amon, but I do hear Maggie's perspective as well. I think that like Blue's gameplay this week definitely left a lot to be desired in the sense that like, yeah, without that veto, she's almost definitely going home. And everything she's talking about for next week, like I would continue to target America. I would willingly go to the final 5 with Matt and Jag, who probably are like plotting her demise right now. All bad. But as we get closer to the end game, I'm looking a lot at like the positioning as well and like long-term prospects. And I do think this is a very good week for her. She does win that veto. And she is now like the only person who seems capable of potentially putting an end to Matt and Jag. And if she does do that, all of a sudden she becomes a real contender. And so it is frustrating to watch, like, because basically like her and America's relationship is a lot of like, hey, you're getting played by this man. What are you talking about? No, I'm not. You suck. And ratting her out. And then being like, so it turns out that man was playing me, but America still sucks. And then again, like, hey, you're getting played by Matt and Jag. They're targeting you. What are you talking about, you liar? Hey, America's saying you're targeting me. Yeah, we are. Oh. Yeah, but America still sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's frustrating, but at the end of the day, I do think the results of this week play out very heavily in Blue's favor. Corey leaving, America's not targeting, nobody's targeting her except for maybe the people most likely to win the HOH, but they're not saying they are right now, even though they probably will. And if she wins this HOH, I do think that, like, again, like America, she's in a spot where she could skyrocket from here. So unlike America, she's she's got a little better prospect. She's not on the block. I'm going to agree with Amon's 5 for Blue, but this might be her peak.
I also I want to say that if she had won that veto and was like appeasing Matt and Jag, but we had already seen her talking to people like Cirie and Felicia and was like, no, if I win, I'm 1000% going after them, I would not have given her a 3. I when that happens, she will be up at the 5. And if she does target Matt and Jag, I would come on here, probably give her a 6 or a 7, because you're right, her win equity goes way up. But the fact that she was like, oh, it's okay, it's fine that you were definitely targeting me, and if I hadn't won, I would have gone home. Like, that is why I'm like, you won the veto, which is great, and you should be rewarded in your score for that. But then you did nothing to change your position at all.
Yeah. All right. Well, Maggie, what are your thoughts on Bowie?
Okay, so Bowie, I think right now is the dark horse pick, like the true dark horse. I'm not saying that she's first, second, or third in line for the crown here, but I do think that she has been underestimated in a lot of ways. I think that she loves Big Brother and she understands Big Brother. And although she might not like, but people don't see that from her. And I think that I think that the problem is, and like the reason that people are divided on Bowie is that it's hard to tell if that's intentional. Like, it wasn't intentional at the top of the game for her to come in and be like, I'm here for fun. Nar, I don't want anyone that I like to go home, even though they're a threat, like, so I think we as a fan base also are like, was that intentional? Like, was she lowering her threat level at the beginning? And I don't know if she was, but I do think she's locked in right now. I do think that it's a hard final 3 for her to win if she's with Matt and Jag. I don't really see a world where she wins, but I do think that we're still far enough out from that, and Matt and Jag are the number 1 targets, that she has a lot of movement. She got a 7 last week on her HOH. Overall, I am not going to stick with her 7 because I do feel like that was rewarding her for that great move that she made. But I am going to give her a 6. And I think that if Matt or Jag leave next week, I would say that she jumps up from dark horse to like just a horse in the race.
All right. Well, the audience gave Bowie a 5, a little bit lower on Bowie. They went down from the 6 last week. And I am inclined to agree with Maggie on this one. I think that I consider dropping to a 5. I don't think this week was good for Bowie. Corey leaving instead of Blue is a bad result for Bowie. Blue doesn't really want to work with Bowie, at this time, at least. Whereas Corey did. Corey wanted to go deep with Bowie, which would have been great. I mean, a final 3 with Corey in America at the end of the day would have been amazing for Bowie. She would have had a great shot at getting to that final HOH. Maybe it's against Corey, which isn't the best, but like if she wins and takes America, that's it. Game over. Bowie probably wins. That and that was an unlikely final 3 that she to get to in the first place, but would have still been an option for her if Blue had left this week instead. So I don't think this was a good week for Bowie. And like the longer we go before she's willing to like consider turning on Matt and Jag, the worse things will get for her. But I do still agree that she's in one of the better spots to get to the end game. So I'm going to give her that 6 as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been pretty, I won't say down, just sort of like ambivalent about Bowie because, like Maggie said, it's really hard sometimes to understand what's intentional, what's not, how in tune with the game that she is. Like, and we went through about a good month and a half to 2 months of that, and it's sort of like hard for me to switch my paradigm now. You know what I mean? But she's giving me reasons to now. Like everything that happened with the whole Cam thing last time, even the thing that happened with Jared and everything, and her sort of like switching her tone up on Cirie when she found out that she was being left out on a lot of things. What we've been seeing is that she can recognize her position and she will pivot when she needs to if she thinks it's appropriate to. And so we've seen that a couple of times, and now we've seen her be able to sort of like fight for her life to not be on the block even if it's against her damn ally. It's like, Jag, what are you doing? Don't do this. And so had she not done that, I don't know, there might have been, still an Ice Cube's chance in hell that she would have wound up on the block. So I'm sort of like, okay, you kind of saved yourself from being a pawn. You've been pivoting. Now you seem to be being loyal to Matt and Jag now, but like similarly to Blue, I think that she's definitely a lot more in tune than Blue can be. I think that if like Cirie or Felicia get in her ear and like, you sure you want to do that? Like, this might be an opportunity. If like one of us is in power, we might need to take that shot and get Jag out. Maybe Matt, we got to do it. I think for sure she'd be like, yeah, we'll do it. So but her end game. I'm feeling generous. I will give her the 7. I will give her a 7.
All right. Well, let's then move on to Cirie. And the audience starts off with Cirie. It was a pretty close vote, but ultimately the audience goes with a 7 for Cirie this week. And I think I would have been on the other side of this close vote for myself. I'm going to give Cirie an 8 this week because the work that she is putting in is so good. And it's hard to see if you're just following along on Twitter or on social media. If you're not watching these interactions in real time, like each one of them, like it's difficult to know just how much better she is at this than everyone else, apart from the competitions. Like she just is so much better than them. And it's so obvious when you watch her have a conversation with somebody, and you can say, oh, well, she has an unfair advantage. She, she's only in this position because she isn't winning comps, whatever you want to say. The reality is not winning competitions is bad for you if you want any sort of like actual control or maneuverability in this game. And she has taken herself from the bottom of the ladder in this game to as high as you can get, basically. She is in the top 3 of people likely to get to the final 3 right now, strictly through her social work. And if you disagree, great. Congratulations, you disagree. But here it is. I've been watching this show for over 20 years, and she is by far one of the best social players the game has ever seen, and you're gonna have to deal with it. She gets an 8.
Not Taran telling all y'all to shut up. Okay, yeah. So I mostly agree. I think look, they had her dead to rights a lot of the time. There was a lot of times where people were saying outright, like, no, we probably should go after Cirie. We probably should get her out. And always seemed to be just like one little person in front of her that would keep her. And now, granted, some of that was aided by the twists. Granted, like Cameron coming back was a nice sort of like, okay, I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna step back and just chill out. You know what I mean? But with that being said, she knew to do that, and I'm still a little worried for how she clutches a win in the end. So, I mean, I feel like for me, it's like, we know Cirie is good. We know her social game is going to be good. So, like, for me, I'm like, I guess I'm putting more weight when I'm like thinking about her game. I'm putting more weight about the win now, because you done already got here now, sis, as we expected that you probably would be able to, and not without hardship and tribulations, which makes it all the more exciting. So I'm like, ooh, can you get a win? Like, what is the winning game for Cirie? Who does she sit next to? And I'm still a little worried with Matt and Jag in the end. Yes, there's a possibility that Matt could take her to the end. There's even a possibility that Jag could be like, you know what, screw Matt. I'm going to take Cirie to the end. There's a possibility for that. Can she win against the both of them? Maybe. I don't know. I'm worried that maybe this cast might be a little bit more. They might put physical competitions like a little bit more weight on that, only because of the whole Cameron storyline of it all. Like, he has like the ultimate like comp win, story of the season. So like, is that something that's important to this cast? Sometimes I think so. So I'm like worried that she can't get the win in the end. So, but I'm not gonna give her the same score as Bowie Jane. So yeah, I will give her the 8 as well.
Yes. And like it's again too, it's like people are pretending like she's just this like goat that can't win comps and is just being dragged. As if she wasn't running the house for half of the game, for more time in the game than she wasn't running the house. Like and then people didn't and it's not like people don't think she can win in the end. People thought that she would definitely win in the end, and she's slowly been trying to change that perception. She's slowly been changing the entire like role that she has in the house to begin with, and it's slowly working. Like, she is actively doing these things, and if you don't see it, sorry, that's on you.
Yeah, Cirie is amazing. She's just amazing. Like, she has this ability to be so warm, but also dynamic. Like, she when you're in a conversation with her, which, I mean, when you're watching these people have conversations with her, she's got her laugh, she's so warm. She's very she's very mothery to all of these people, but she talks with such authority that they want to listen to her. And I am going to give her an 8 as well. If I thought that she could win some of these comps, like any comps really, outside of like a crapshoot, I would give her a 9 right now. But I also think, like, I'm going to predict it right now, and I really hope I'm right. I think that we have not seen the last of a brilliant strategic social move from Cirie. I could see a world where we're at the final 5, final 4, and Cirie convinces Matt to get rid of Jag. Like, I think that she has that ability. She has it in her. I'm not saying that that's the exact move, but it's going to be something along that level where we're all going to be like, how? The Cirie mist is real. Like, I think that down this last little stretch, that if you want an exciting end game, if Cirie's there, she's going to put the work in. And I do think that, you know, right now she's trying so hard to make sure that the pieces are on the board that she needs in order to make something like that happen. That's why getting Corey out is so good for her this week, and bringing in America the way that she's already starting to. Like, I really think that we're going to see something akin to what she's been able to do on Survivor in that end game, because that's usually where she thrives. Obviously, you know, she loses it right at the end. But I'm telling you, that end game, that's where the 3-2-1 happened. That's where Eric gave up the necklace. That's where Advantage Gannon happened, and she didn't even have a vote. Like that, I think that when it whittles down, the less people that there are, the better that she is, because then she can put in the time with those people that she needs to. And I really feel like we're gonna get something really good at the end.
It would be very satisfying to see this happen, because like we've been saying, because how many days of Survivor has she's played? She's
4.
like past that now, right? No, how many days?
I think she's played like 100-something days of Survivor. Maybe.
Okay, if she survives to the end, right? It would have been 100 days in Big Brother, and so I'm like, just like narratively and just poetically, it would just be like all of those losses finally, like, and like yes, it was great for her to like win Traders and everything, but like to get that CBS win, I don't know, just something about it just feels a little bit more juicy to me. So I'm just like, ooh, if she could just get that win, it just would make all of the times that she lost on that island just feel so much. Just feel much better about it. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm like cautiously optimistic, because I famously been saying I don't really give a damn who wins the season. Of course I give a small damn. Of course I want to see Cirie win. But like I'm just still like allowing myself to be like, all right, I'm ready for that torch to get snuffed. I'm just waiting for it. Like,
I don't know if she wins. You know, I'm not saying that at all, but I do think with Cirie, the best is yet to come. I think that we're going to get a moment from her here in this end stretch that is going to put all of the jokers who are saying, Taran, you're overinflating her social ability. She's going to have a moment that nobody can deny because of what she is able to do.
I mean, honestly, this is the thing. From my perspective, that moment has come already. Like, this is that moment. The fact that she went from the bottom to the top of this game is astounding. Like, this doesn't happen in this show. And like, I genuinely feel sorry for the people that aren't able to appreciate it, because it's really, really good work. It's so impressive that she managed to go from the person that people trusted the least in this game to the person every single person in the house, including now Bowie, trusts the most in this game. It is ridiculous, and she has pulled it off. It's so impressive. And on top of that, this week went absolutely pitch perfect for her. And part of that is luck, because Blue won that veto. But like, it could not have gone better for her the way that this week panned out. And she's in a perfect position to make some moves moving forward. So yeah.
It's like she had like a really good lifeline in Matt, right? Like, you know, she was at the bottom of everything, but she still had that one person that was still towards the top to help like pull herself out of that. And that only comes with putting the time in with Matt the entire time, and still having Matt trust you even when the whole house is like F Cirie. So yeah, just really good.
3 weeks ago, Jag could not shut up about how Cirie was bullying him in the house. Now, 3 weeks later, they're talking like they're mother and son, and he wants to bring her to the final 3. Like, come on. Just last week, Bowie was like, I think Cirie's the most dangerous player in this game. She's too good with everyone. We need to get her out. Now, Bowie wants her in the final four. Anyway, let's talk about Corey. Corey, who, listen, at the end of the day, this veto competition, the double veto, if it was a single veto, Corey's still here, probably. But that's like the most positive thing I have to say about Corey this week, because he did not see it coming in the way that he should have. You know, almost all the way to the end, he wasn't even planning on targeting Jag and Matt next week. It wasn't until they started backing away from him that he did. I think his campaign is not effective. He continues to underestimate Bowie. Everything that I said about him this morning, I think, and I'll say it again, I think it's sheer arrogance, the way that he views Bowie in this game, and one of his major downfalls in this house. But I'm gonna give him the 2, mostly because I don't think he's leaving if not for the veto twist. What do you think, Aman?
Yeah, you know, I enjoy Corey. I really, I think that he's just been, he's been great to watch and just sort of like, see his like little gamer squirrely mind just like do what it can and shifting and taking control of the season when he knew that this was like the pivotal moment to do so was really, really fun. So I think that he definitely has all the chops. If another All-Star season of Big Brother were to ever happen, I think he would definitely be getting a call. But with that being said, yeah, it's just I think there was just a lot of blind spots that didn't necessarily even have to be blind spots. If he just had taken a little bit more time to cement some more of those relationships or learn or do something about the social positioning that he knew was there. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm kind of inclined to give him a 1 because I feel like I always give a 1 to the people that are pretty much going to be out of here. So I just wish that I think that he just got a little bit caught up in like, he made a big move. It worked. He was kind of at the top. He's got this nice showmance going on too. She's hyping him up as well. They're hyping each other up. I just think he kind of just like, he was feeling it. And now it's a little too late for him to snap out of it. So yeah, I'm gonna give him the 1.
Here's another reason I think I don't. This is a rag on his game. This isn't the worst week of Big Brother that Corey has played. Like the Cameron HOH, he played way worse than this.
Yeah,
he really should have been punished for that one. Maggie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, it's all led to this. You know, it really has. He was meant to be second juror, whether it was a 9-person jury or a 7-person jury. Like, he played himself into this position. And as much as I have loved watching Corey, I agree, Aman. I've really enjoyed him this season. You know, like it really does feel like it's his time. He just ran out of road. And I will say, I think that it says something that like his brother was on the podcast and was like, if he goes home, like, it's all right now, you know? And like, I do think like that's just like, if you've been watching and you enjoy Corey, that's kind of how you feel, because you're like, you can't really deny that he did this to himself, but also you can't really deny that, you know, it just is what it is. It is what it is. So I'm going to give him a 2. And congratulate him for even making it this far, because he probably shouldn't have gotten this far of, you know, so yeah.
Well, the audience, too generous. They gave him a 3.
they love them. They love Corey. They love their Corey.
What do we do?
That's okay.
The audience is what like randos on Twitter think I am, apparently. I think. So let's move on and talk about Felicia. Aman, what are your thoughts on Felicia?
Yeah, I mean, Felicia's going Felicia. That's sort of like what I've learned about Felicia. She the way that she handled being nominated, definitely socially not the best, but did she end up getting away with it because she usually does? Yes. So I'm like, how many lives does this lady have? Now that we're in the end game, I'm struggling to see her get to the final two, unless, you know, I don't even think Cirie takes it to the final two. I think Cirie cuts her throat in the end. I really do. We've seen her do it before.
I hope not. I think Cirie beats Felicia. Who's she cutting her for?
I don't know. Maybe America.
Oh,
I don't know.
well, yeah, that would be good.
or Blue, if they're still like, if they like do a woman strong thing and get the Matt Jag out of the house. So yeah, I don't know. I think Felicia, I mean, while she's fun to have on the show and everything, I think that she'll stick around for a few more weeks, but I just don't know if there really is any winning game yet for her, which sucks, because that has to do with the competition. It's not even so much about her social game. So I will give her a 5, because it's not impossible, but it's not very likely either. So
Wow, a 5.
All right. Maggie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, like, she has more agency, I think, than like Bowie. Like, I don't know, like, she like is more of a go-getter than, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe she's just more of a go-getter than
she's
Bowie.
just more in your face.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think because I think that you're right, Aman. I don't know how she gets to the end. I think that the people who would take her to the end would take Cirie instead, because Cirie is closer with them socially and also can't win competitions. You know what I mean? So like, Cirie's social game, unfortunately, I think has made it much more difficult for Felicia to fill that role. I'm gonna give her a 5 as well. I think that Felicia probably makes it to final 5 and goes there. That's sort of my prediction for her. But
she's giving modern day Rennie. That's what it's
the love.
giving
You
me.
mean that must be why Felicia is like the love of my life. She's everything to me. Like, it's perfection. She is one of the best casting decisions that they've made on the show in years. I love it. She's fantastic.
Well, I'll say both the audience and I agree.
Wow, another 5.
With the 5s. Yeah, I mean, the Felicia's in a tough spot in the sense that she doesn't have a great shot to win a lot of competitions, and she's not currently as well positioned as like Bowie or Cirie. Blue, on the other hand, is in probably even worse position than Felicia, but a bit more capable of winning competitions. So for me, they're both about equal here. Again, both just kind of hoping, and this would be so much better if Jag couldn't compete in the next HOH, but hoping for a good HOH result.
Do we like know that for sure?
It was in the episode.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't watch Sunday.
Fair enough.
Oh my gosh, I just called myself out.
I didn't watch it either, Maggie. It's okay.
But yeah, I think a 5 right now makes sense for Felicia. If this is not a good HOH result, if it's like Blue or even America going home and not Jagmat or Bowie, she's running out of runway real quick. Something would have to shift for this to not go down. But for now, I think there's still some hope left. So let's move on to Jag. Maggie, how do you feel about Jag?
Like, Jag is the person on the math test who shows all of their work, and the work it doesn't even make sense. Like, it's gibberish. Like, you're not even their numbers are coming out of, like, it's not even numbers, it's letters. And then somehow they've circled the correct answer on the page. Like, I actually don't know if it was possible for him to play this week worse than he did. Like, I actually am astounded that he managed to make the wrong decision at every single turn. I I'm floored. Like I'm completely floored. Let's start at the top of the week when he immediately tells Corey in America that he won Invisible HOH and tells Matt and Bowie that he won Invisible HOH. Like, at least you have plausible deniability. Like, everything about it is so absurd. I'm sorry. I've said it all season. Jag is not good at the game of Big Brother. Jag is a nice guy who is good at competitions, who I would love to hang out with outside of the house. And like, I get why people enjoy him, but like, what the heck was he doing this week? This is a great result. He has to win out from this point on because of all of the bad moves that he's made so far this week. He or Matt, you know, which I'm, like I said, I'm not even convinced that Matt, if Matt wins a clutch competition that Jag really needs for both of them, I'm not sure he'll follow through, you know, if we're looking at final 5, final 4. And I don't even know where to go. Like it feels, I want to give him a 2, but because of his comp ability, God, I don't even
Think
know.
about his culpability, though. Think about his culpability.
I'm going to give him a 3. I'm going to give him a 3. It was really bad, guys. It was so bad.
Well, there you go. A 3 for Jag from Maggie. The audience, in another somewhat close vote, gave Jag 4. 4 from the audience. This is a tough one. If I'm going on like gameplay, strictly gameplay this week, given the tools that Jag had, I would easily give him a 2 or a 3. I think he played this week very poorly, but not so poorly that it's like a 1 or a low 2, because he does end up doing the right thing for the most part. Definitely have a lot of nitpicks, but he has a lot of leeway to make mistakes, given that he's the only one winning competition. So that's, I think, in terms of like his active playing, it's very low. However, his position is still pretty decent. It's the, like, it's close to the Jackson Holly position. It's close to like the Kayla Derrick position. It's he's got a partner in crime, and one extra, and they're the most capable comp players in the game. And he can compete next week. It all keeps coming back to that for me, because if he couldn't compete next week, it would be an entirely different story. But it's such a massive advantage that he gets a couple of points on that fact alone, in terms of positioning. So on top of that, while he did make a lot of mistakes this week, none of them have come back to bite him yet, from my perspective. I think they will, but I haven't seen it happen yet. And so he gets a little bit of that benefit of the doubt, especially considering that things will probably work out for him anyway, given the competition structure. And so I'm going to be a bit different here. And I'm going to give him a 6.
Taran. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding?
You can't deny his position.
But his gameplay this week. Are you kidding?
It would be so much higher if not for his gameplay this week.
Wow. I'm
How do I
floored.
feel? How do I feel about Jag? Jagateshwar. You know, I think I'm going to give him a 5. I think I'll go, like, I'll split the difference, because
Wow, a 5.
I think, yes, I agree with everything that was said. You know, just a really, really, really messy week. It really didn't have to be that messy. He could have gotten away with so much more had he just was a little bit more judicious with what he said to people. I don't necessarily think a lot of people, especially the AmeriCorey stands, are like, you just burned both their votes. I don't think that that's necessarily true. Like, I think that Corey definitely has a lot more respect for the game. And I think that America could be brought around to also voting for Jag, you know, if he was one of the options in the end. So I don't think it's like the worst thing. It's definitely not the best thing. It's far from the best thing that he's done this week. But I do still think that there is a chance that he can still go home. You know, we did just get 2 physical comps, right? So I'm hoping that the HOH is a little bit more, you know, even playing field. And there are a lot of people that could win that could go after him. And yes, then you have the veto comp, which he most likely be playing in, which is probably going to be physical again. So we still have to worry about that contention there. But just based off of the sheer chance that he could still end up as one of the nominees next week, I'm not as prepared to give him the 6, even though he made a pretty good move this week. So I will level it out and give him that 5.
Wow. I mean, I do think I was harsh.
If I know, I don't think you were harsh at all, Maggie. I agree. The week was bad.
If I had not gone first, I would have said everything that I said and probably have given him a 4. I do want to say that in my heart, it was a 3. So I am going to stick with it. Like, I'm not going to change, you know, because average, he got his 5. But I can't even, because, okay, this is my problem though, Taran, is that Jackson had great game sense. Like, he was ruthless. He was going to do what he had to do.
Better than Jag, I will agree.
I was about to say, Jag's game sense is like not on that level in terms of the self-preservation. You know, like I don't see Jag making up a lie about something he overheard Bowie saying to try to make sure and telling the whole house and picking a fight with her in front of everybody to try to win. You know what I mean? Like, that level of killer instinct, I don't think is there. So like, even if he's in the Jackson position, like, I don't know. I'm floored.
Look how pretty it is, though. 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's beautiful.
No, listen, I completely honestly, I was happy that you gave him a 3 because you're representing that side of me that wants to give him a 3. I felt like I have to give him the 6 because the position is so strong and the fact that he's competing again and the fact that nothing's gone wrong yet. I'm in this spot where it's like I'm trying to like humble my own reads here and be like, I think that he's doing terrible things, but none of them have gone wrong for him yet. So like, I have to be like, all right, listen, if it's gonna work out, I have to accept it. But I agree. I'm with you on the 3.
He didn't have to suffer for it.
He literally got evicted.
Well, that happened. I already gave him his 1s for that.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh.
I mean, there is a little bit of that. Are you gonna vote for someone that was evicted? Like, even if he does make it to the top 2, it's like, can he win?
No, but it's the Cliff thing, actually. This season, wow, we're really talking about Big Brother 21. It's the Cliff thing because Cliff got voted out, immediately won his way back in, and everybody, like, if Cliff had gotten to the end, everyone would have voted for him. Like, it's when you are physically out of the house and like, and also that camp comeback, they were basically zombies, you know, for 3 weeks. So but Cliff was never in that position because he got voted out and then they immediately played and he came back in. And it was the same thing with Jag. And I do think that psychologically that does something different.
Yeah, I agree.
I think so too, but just how Jag doesn't equal Jackson. I don't think that Jag necessarily equals Cliff either. So I'm like, I don't necessarily think, especially, you have to consider like who he's sitting next to. Now there might be some slam dunks in there. Like if he's sitting next to somebody like Blue, he's probably
even like a win. Bowie,
or even a Bowie, or even maybe probably a Felicia as well. Does that happen? I don't know. Does he cut Matt? I don't know. If he's sitting next to Matt, he's not winning. If he's sitting next to Cirie, he's not winning. Maybe even if he's sitting next to America, he might not win. So I just don't know. I think that there's definitely like a level of, especially with the way that he played this week and just pissing so many people off. While I don't think that that's necessarily, you're not going to win because of that. Like, you pissed me off that week, therefore you're not going to win. It's like, it's more so like, well, Jag pissed me off at one point, but Matt never really has, or this person never really has. So I'm going to vote for that person. You know what I mean? So because they never got evicted and he did. So
I
we'll see.
also do think that, like, because I don't want to make it sound like I don't enjoy Jag, or like, I actually think Jag is like
No, I
a
love
really
Jag.
great person, like too good for Big Brother. And I do see like what happened today, actually, I feel like is indicative of how you can sour a jury against you. Not like him stabbing America in the front, like, or America and Corey in the back, like none of that. I think that it's something that I would also struggle with on Big Brother, and maybe that's why I recognize it in him, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. When America told him, like, literally F off, he got so personally upset and offended, and
Yeah.
like started to take a moral high ground over it. And it's because he feels bad about what he did. And he doesn't, he's like, well, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. He feels really bad. He's not sure how to handle it. So he's starting to, like, crap talk and whatever, and like puts himself on a soapbox about it all, which, like, I understand. I would do the same thing. If I betrayed an ally and then they were really mad at me, I think I would be so annoying spending the rest of the day going to everyone being like, do you think that they're really mad at me and they'll never get over it? But like, she's mad, and the way to continue to make her mad is to act like she has no reason to be mad, or there's no value in her anger. And I I don't know. I see if he has to continue down this road and people start coming at him, I'm not sure that he's going to be able to handle that in the way that the jury would respect. If he is like, well, you have no reason to be mad, if he's taking a moral high ground in certain places.
I mean, the thing is, for better or worse, he has 5 times as many competition wins as the next closest person.
I
right now.
know.
And that does matter. Like, I think a small difference, or even like a medium difference, can not matter. But if he keeps winning, if he wins next week, HOH, veto, like, if he starts closing in on 7, 8 competitions, it's going to be hard, I think, like, he's going to have a real case, I think, regardless of anything else he does. So we will see. Let's finally talk about Matt. The audience gave Matt a 7 last week, and they gave him a 7 again this week. I gave Matt an 8 last week, and I'm going to give Matt an 8 this week again. Because this is a perfectly fine week for Matt. Corey leaving is great. Blue leaving would have been great. Corey leaving, honestly, better. He's doing fine. He didn't make any of the same mistakes that Jag did. He was great with Bowie. He's doing great. Even Corey was talking about, like, Matt's so good. His jury management is way better. His instincts are better. The only thing he's not better at so far is competitions. And really, even then, like, he has beaten Jag in anything that is physical almost every time, except for the endurance competitions. So there's still, I think, a lot of hope that he can beat Jag in future competitions. Although if he keeps struggling at the mental portions of them, then that may not be the case. But yeah, I mean, he's still, I think, the front runner to win the whole thing right now. Jag's nipping at his heels. Cirie's starting to get in there, providing him an opportunity to make a big mistake. But yeah, I mean, he's sitting pretty. Even if he does get targeted, Jag is the target over him still. And the more weeks that goes, and he still would have Bowie, so he doesn't even lose. Like, he still has a partner. Like, he's just very well insulated. It's looking pretty good for him. His worst case scenario is a bad HOH result and a bad veto result where Jag wins it, and he has to go because they need to weaken Jag. And the further we get, the less likely that becomes.
Yeah, I agree. Hasn't really, his game is sort of like just held aloft, right? And I think that there's really no indication that he would ever really change up what he is doing, even when he is tempted to make a bad move by other, like, by ally members making bad moves and by proxy it damaging him. He always somehow seems to, like, you know, even if he's not like the forefront of steering that person in the right direction, he waits for the right moment to be like, yeah, I agree with you before, but maybe we shouldn't do that. I think this is probably this is the route to take. Like, so he knows what's the best thing to do. He lets people sort of like do what they need to, and then it comes back around, and then everything calms down around him again. So yeah, I mean, he's been the front runner, one of the front runners to win pretty consistently for the past few weeks. And I mean, even Corey just saying like, yeah, like Matt's so good. I feel like he has like this general air where like that sweet spot where you always want to be, where people recognize that like you're doing well in the game, but they don't necessarily think that it's threatening. They're like, oh yeah, like Matt, like, oh yeah, Matt, he's good. Like, I trust him. He's good. We're good with Matt. Like, yeah, he's a little dangerous. He's winning some comms. But I think Matt's good with me. So like I think that's the perfect spot to be in. So I will also give him an 8.
I'm gonna give Matt a 9. Matt is fantastic at Big Brother. If Matt sits next to anybody in the final 2, I think he wins. Even at this point, I think he beats Cirie. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I'm open to. Well, actually, no. Don't DM me your criticism of that. I don't want to hear it. But I really like.
He's definitely got the best chance at beating Cirie out of anybody else.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that he runs away with it next to anyone else. I think Cirie gives him a run for his money, but I think that he beats everybody. I think he's got a great chance of getting there. I think if Jag leaves, he is by far and away the competition front runner. I think that he can, you know, go on a comp run here at the end. And yeah, I mean, I think that it would be foolish for me to not give him a 9 when he's in the best position. This week went fantastic for him. He's not in immediate danger. And someone said, why so low on Jag, but high on Matt? Because Matt is good at Big Brother and knows what he's doing. Matt never would have made one of the unforced errors that Jag made this week. Jag made like 6 unforced errors. So that's why, and actually, he's made errors that Matt has made for Jag by absolutely snaking him out to his allies. So, like, I think that Matt is just in a really great position. He's my front runner, not in my heart, but he's my front runner. And yeah, I think that he's in it here at the end.
There you go.
He's just so chill. Just very, very chill, but in a good way, not in a way that like he's a non-factor in the game. He's just the way that he rides. He literally just swims through Big Brother, just breaststroke after breaststroke, just like tranquil waters, making very little waves if he doesn't need to. Just he's a merman. What can I say?
A merman. Well, that's the Stockwatch. We did it. Look at that.
We did it.
Of course, Corey and America, the big losers of the night in terms of value. But that's what we have for you. Come on, any final thoughts on the week?
Hey, I love a good blindside. I hope that we get like a really big, like soapy ass eviction between the two of them, and then Corey's picture fades to black and white, and America's like, oh my baby, he's gone, and then wins HOH.
Maggie, any final thoughts?
I just love Big Brother. It's so fun. When it's good, it's so good. It's so good. Today was really fun on the feeds, and I'm really hoping that this brings a lot of fun. I don't know. I feel like the momentum is shifting. I know, Taran, that you're like competitions, and I am always that person who says we can't have nice things, competitions, but I don't know. I just feel that there's some momentum here moving.
I mean, it's I just feel again, it's like we have one crapshooty competition, and it's like the thing that we need. Like it saves the week. Like this week was so boring before Blue won that veto. And now, you know, we're kind of moving again.
Yep.
And so we'll see where things move from here. Listen, I would love nothing more. I mean, Corey even said it on the feeds today. He was like, the thing is, you go outside and you see the comp and you're like, do I even have a shot at this? And the problem is, if you say, even if you do say yes, Matt and Jag still also have a shot at those. And that's the issue in a nutshell. But here we are. That was our week of Big Brother 25. Of course, I'll be back tomorrow morning to update you on everything that happens for the rest of today, here on day 76 of Big Brother 25. And then tomorrow night, there will be a 90-minute episode with 2 veto competitions. I'll be live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, watching live with all of you. And then, of course, we'll be here to recap it all on the podcast. And then Wednesday, I'll be live watching Survivor. Thursday, our eviction episode, live on Twitch, podcast after. That's how it goes. You can also find me on Instagram, hanging out, climbing things, Twitter, doing stuff over there. And, you know, all that good stuff. Amon, what do you got going on?
I am just here for Big Brother. Cannot wait for the California live show. It's going to be very, very exciting. So for all of those that are going to be there, I will see you there. Slop and all.
Yes. If you did not get tickets yet for the live show in LA, make sure you do so. I tweeted out the poster for it. It's Back to the Future themed. I got in a costume and everything. So go check that out. I just tweeted it out today. You can see
Aaron
it for
said
yourself.
he's not going to participate in any of the costumes for Halloween because he doesn't like Halloween costumes.
They're not buying tickets yet. That's why. They haven't bought enough tickets.
Public shaming. Bring it back.
Maggie, what do you got going on?
Yeah, so I am on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at @EmmaMorgan_. You can find me there. I think I will be back actually Wednesday to talk feeds, so I'll see you then. And yeah, I just am, like I said, I love Big Brother. I love when it's good. I had so much fun chatting with you guys tonight through all the disagreements. That's the point of the Stockwatch, right? That we don't rate the same. Everybody's ratings are different.
Look, a good 3, 4, 5, 6 is like vintage. It's great stuff.
Brilliant.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here today. And we will see all of you next time.